cigarette lighter. So I probably can take this out and just put it right there, and then the gas can just plug in here, and then I can just leave the top closed so it's not open while I'm driving. So maybe I'll put it here, say this 12-volt unit that I put down here. I did this a long time ago. I already loosened this unit. I don't take this one out all the way. I just unscrew it in the back. There's 3 + 2 screws to loosen this. If you want to take this whole thing out, then you have to take this section out here to get to the screws that are behind it. So I just got it loose in case I have to get back here to get any wires. Also on the driver's side, I took the knee pad out on this side in case, well, I need to do that to get to the microphone wires that I put in. Also, I took my alarm switch slash anti-towing switch, and I extended the harness, and I actually put it way over here with my light switch. That way there, when the ashtray door is closed, they still can see my alarm button flashing. So what I did was I basically ran my hair, it's right here, this black wire right here. I cut it into it, and then I use ends. I didn't solder this one because I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not. I've decided I do like it, so I'll take this apart down the road and I'll solder it all back together nice and neat using heat shrink tape. But for right now, it's in the corner, hiding. And if you want to see what I'm talking about, let me pop this off. This is going to shake a little bit, I apologize. But now let me come over here. Oops, that's my other car. That's a 2014 250 C250 that I just bought. But right, where is it? Let me rotate this camera. Oh my God, that's what he looks like. So hang on. Where are you? Where are you? Put my hand there. There it is. So what I did is I put my switch here, so that way there it flashes. Okay, so let me go back over here and put the camera back in my little holder. Because I don't have enough memory on my phone, so once it goes ding ding, I'll have to download it and then keep doing this again. So I'm going to put this back in gear for now. Turn this off completely. Where's my cuttings? When I first did this, I actually did 2 cuttings. The first tape I did, I didn't cut the very top piece off. I left it, and then I realized that it hung down 1/16 of an inch. So then I had to put it back. I had to take it out. So we're going to reverse this. And the way I cut it is I cut it so down the road, if you ever want to ABS this back together, you can. You would just basically use ABS glue or CA glue, and you can actually glue this whole thing back together. This is the piece that I took off the second time because it was hanging down just a little too much. It's always just a little too much, right? So today we're going to just stick this back in here. So this is what it would look like. There we go. I just want to show you what it will look like. I got it backwards. There, that way. Is it that way? Yeah, that way. See what goes in easier. Okay. So that's what your unit's going to look like when you take it apart. You can't even tell that it's been cut. But anyhow, right down here, there's a circle. And that's where the cutting's going to stop or start on both sides. And then it's going to go all the way up until it basically goes all the way up and cuts. Go ahead and put blue tape, several layers over the edge, and blue tape all this so it doesn't cut when you're cutting. Always keep in mind where your wires are. Always keep taking your wires and make sure they're out of the way. Push them out of the way. If you gotta feed your wires through here to get them out of your way, do so. On each ABS console support, there's a notch here, and there's a notch here, and there's a notch here. Undo your 2 screws. There's 1 screw here and 1 screw here. That actually holds in this frame. It doesn't hold in the console. I know this on some YouTubes. They're always taking these screws out, but that holds this unit in, not the wood unit. So what I basically do is I'll take my saw, and this is what I use. You can extend this out more if you need to. You can extend this out right at the bottom of the circle. I'll go ahead and I'll cut. And what I'm doing is I'm going to be following this edge nice, as cleanly as possible and as thin as possible in case you want to replace it. So basically I cut here like that, right to the edge. And then I put my hacksaw blade into that notch, and I saw down to that point. So now that section's cut. Then I put my hacksaw back where it was. I cut up, make sure there's no wires. I'm following the edge, the crease line. Okay? I'm following the crease line, and I'm going to go all the way up. And then right along here, of course, if I take this out, you can see what I'm talking about. Once you get your hacksaw blade up here, you want to be able to cut through this tip here, and then see I'm changing the angle, and you want to get this tip here. Remember, there's wires up here for the AC unit, okay? So make sure when you do that the wires are free and clear. If you gotta put something in its way, put something in its way, or take the unit out for safety. That way there you can see down and make sure that you're not cutting any wires. If you do cut the wires, then basically solder them back up. Put liquid tape or heat shrink tape on it. But I've done this a couple of times and never had any problems with cutting wires. But you may want to extend this out more to yace far depending on your angle. So once you go through here, I'll put my hand up here, make sure, see there are some wires right there, and I'll go like so. I'm holding the wires with my hands and I'm cutting, and then it's going to hit here, so that's why you want to put tape all in this area. Okay, the more tape the better. A piece of cardboard, whatever. Same on this side. Once you get that cut, you come in here, you cut that. There's a notch right here. You put your saw blade into that notch, come down, nice and clean, follow the edge, back into that notch, cut the center section out to here, and then go here, make sure there's no wires anywhere. You know, you can check by putting your hands in there. If you take this section out here, you can feel in here, because it helps. Let me raise. It helps in here so you can actually feel the wires, and you guide and you cut. Make sure you put tape up here. And then as you're cutting, because of the heat factor, some areas are going to stick back together again because it's ABS. So if you go to pull it out and it's kind of like sticking somewhere, just kind of like, you know, recut that section. Also, where these notches are, there's supports that go all the way across the back, and there's a support that goes all the way across the back that holds this section and this section together. So when you're cutting, you want to get all the way to the back of those supports and cut those supports off. So when I take this out, okay, so once this is cut, you're going to basically take it out like this, okay, because this is all going to be one piece like that, okay. And as you can see, this is support here, and this is the one support that came in and I cut, and here's the other support here that I cut. See the two supports? You want to cut those nice and clean, okay? So when you get done, you basically have the section that came out, and this can actually be epoxy back in. What I would do is I would probably take sandpaper and get all the burrs off, get it nice and clean. I'll use an epoxy primer to clean up all the edges so everything will adhere. And I use CA glues, but you guys can, on this is ABS, you can use ABS, or you can even use reinforcing tape if you wanted to, just to hold it back into place. I believe when I do the 129-0102, where I'm keeping the AC unit up here, I would just have to basically, while this is in here, cut this section off like this, all the way through, and then down, leaving this top section in its place. If something happens and I do a test and this section is in my way, then most likely what I would do is when I redesign the console, I will put another shelf in there and tell you just to, you know, hack this whole thing out. You know, just come and cut this way and then take from here down. But I'll let you know whether it's from the top of the AC or the bottom of the AC shelf. Alright, so that's the unit here. I'm going to go ahead and shut you guys down for a minute and come back, okay?